All right, up here at the top right, we have a player who made a lot of Zerglings last game, didn't really work out for him. Also a member of the team ZenX. He is
ZenX Live.
There he is, looks super serious. Gotta win this. It's my last chance. It may be his last chance. Now his opponent is on his team.
Kyrix
needs almost no introduction. I know I said that last time, but it's really how I feel about Kyrix. He's got so many results. He's done so well. He's never really made it very far in CODAS or in the open tournaments. It's not like he's made it to the semifinals or anything like that, but he's done consistently well. It's one of those nadas of Zerg, where Nada, for example, never made it to a finals, but does consistently well. Always, always, always at least makes it to the round of 16. Kyrix, you know, recently had some close calls that falling down to Code A, but always won his up and down matches, always made it back in the next time. So, both players again going gas first. On a map like this, you pretty much have to. I say pretty much because there are other options, but not very many of them. The natural is actually very far away from the main base on this map. Zerg, that's a pretty big deal because your creep kind of extends a little bit slowly. When you want to defend that natural, it's pretty far away. You can't make your production facilities close to your natural to help defend it like you can as a Terran or a Protoss. Got to be very careful. Kyrix could be going for an earlier scout than his opponent. He wants to know what his opponent's up to. He wants to know, okay, do I need to do anything special? I'm up a game. This is game 2 for those of you guys who don't have a lot of experience watching RTS games at the highest level in tournament situations. Game 2 is usually the game most likely, and statistically speaking even so, the game most likely you're going to get cheesed on, especially when you're down a game. If you're up a game, you might cheese because you just want to win the series, you just want to close out, you're like, I'm ahead, if this doesn't work, then, you know, I outplayed my opponent in game 1, so I'll be fine in game 3. Sometimes if your opponent outplays you, though, you have a tendency to cheese because you just want to win. You're like, I can't beat him in a straight-up game, I got to cheese him. But it's not going to be the case. But that's why Kyrix is sending that early scouting drone, most likely. Didn't really have to do that. He decided to. Now notice Kyrix actually left one of his drones in that extractor. That means he may want to be following up with banelings here pretty soon. Possibly roaches. Basically leaving that one drone, or actually it looks like he's got 2 in there now. Leaving those drones in the extractor kind of leaves you open to a lot of different options. You don't have to go for a baneling nest, but gives you the opportunity. It looks like it is going to be roaches. That's why you put those additional drones back in the gas. And back at home for Line, he's actually making a roach warren as well. Looks like he's kept his drones on full-time. So some full-time drone workers. Now this queen is going to be pretty useful here at defending these Zerglings. And equal Zergling numbers. If you've got a queen helping out, it's always a lot easier. It's kind of funny in ZVZ and Starcraft 2. The Zerglings just seem so slow until they have speed, so you watch them chase each other like this and it looks really silly. And one player's going to get speed first. I was going to say one player's going to get speed first, and that battle is going to turn very quickly. But, as it turns out, neither player wants to engage. They're not sure who's going to have speed first. They just want to play it safe and back away. Speed finishing a little bit faster for Line, or for Kyrix rather. Now Line, he's got his Roach Warren up, but he hasn't started any Roach production yet. Just wants to use these speedlings, be very aggressive with them. Now as this kind of wall off falls, it's going to be much easier for him to target down drones, but the Roaches pop, and Line's Zergling pressure again is thwarted. Right now, as far as drones go, there's 16 drones to 13 drones, and that's a pretty significant difference. The Roach numbers are going to be way in the favor of Kyrix. He's already got 6 out, and he's got a better economy to make more Roaches. So he's just going to wall off the top of his ramp, as you guys will get a shot of in a second here, with those Roaches. Actually going to wall it off with 2 sets of 3, so that those Roaches, both of them get to fire. Any Zerglings try to run up are going to wish they hadn't. In fact, he's taking a second gas, and he's going to make a Baneling nest. He may just try to use Roaches and Banelings as a combination. Of course, if you have a lot of Speedlings and the Roaches get surrounded, it gets relatively easy. Look at that scouting Zergling. He is a champ. He just ran past like 15 Zerglings, and he is not stopping. That is a champ Zergling. Look at him. He's going to run in there. He's going to see, how many Roaches do you have, Line? Only 2 at the ramp. And normally, you don't really hide your Roach numbers. It's kind of a way. You can hide your Roach numbers in certain situations, but I think he's going to know very well that since his opponent has that many Zerglings, there are no Roaches to hide. Kyrix has just a much better roach count. Line is not really making that many roaches. Now, what Line's plan here is to wait until Kyrix moves out, then surround all of his roaches. Now, what he should be doing is hiding his Zergling numbers. That way, if Kyrix moves out with his roaches, he can surround. Now, what Kyrix is doing back behind all of this is he has made a Baneling nest. I think he may try to follow up his roach aggression with some Banelings so that the Zerglings come and surround his roaches. He'll have those Banelings there. Banelings can clean up the Zerglings, and the roaches can do the rest. And actually, Line is going to aggressively take an expansion here. When your opponent's got a lot of roaches, this is normally the last thing you want to do, but I think he senses some sort of passivity from Kyrix. Hasn't scouted that lair, so he doesn't really know that Kyrix is just kind of banking up to do a timing attack here. Most likely what we're going to see from Kyrix is just him move out, research roach speed here pretty soon as he pushes out. And then he can take his hatchery kind of behind it, but he wants to attack first, be the aggressive one. Now here comes the Scouting Overlord for Line. He's going to see the real roach numbers here. And it looks like Kyrix wants to hide most of his roaches, but it's too late. If Line was paying attention to his Overlord, he knows what's up. And oh, this lair may be for another purpose. I just didn't even realize how important it is that if you bring Overlords with creep and you're doing a roach timing attack, those reinforcing roaches are much faster there, and also that you can attack very quickly when you get there. Attack Zerglings out in the middle of the map. You've got that roach Overlord speed, I don't know what to call it. You've got that Overlord assist with your roaches. Look at that. Line making that hatchery. He's got some roaches, but not a lot. Burrow and roach speed are about 2/3 done each. More roaches popping out here for Kyrix. I think he's going to go here pretty soon. Now, he knows about the hatchery, so it's no secret to him that what his opponent's doing. He knows he's made a lot of Zerglings. He knows he has a better roach count, and he's just going to wait for that roach speed. Most of the time, normally in ZVZ, or at least in my experiences casting it and talking to Zerg players, most players, instead of waiting for that roach speed, will just get +1 for the roaches, because that way they 2-shot Zerglings rather than 3-shotting them. That's pretty significant. And also, of course, with that +1, you can kill your opponent's roaches much faster. Well, Zergling speed, even so, it's pretty good. Now, notice he leaves those 3 roaches behind, so the Zergling counterattack is not possible. Oh, man, look at that. Line is looking like he is not going to have enough. He may barely squeeze out enough, but this is going to be pretty close. Overseer coming out here to give vision. Now, Line has the better concave here, so that's going to be pretty huge. And actually, with that better concave and some of these Zerglings, it's actually looking really bad for Kyrix. Even with that Overseer popping, Line may be able to hold this, but with that roach speed, he is going to be able to micro a little bit better. Queen coming in here to help out. But here's the thing. Kyrix has a ton more reinforcing roaches coming in. I don't know if it's going to be enough, though. Line may actually hold this, and that's why I kept being critical of Kyrix. Normally, you can see just a +1 to follow this up, but it looks like Kyrix is not going to break through here, and Line will hold, and that may actually be game-ending, because even though there are better upgrades for Kyrix, he just doesn't have the army. GG! We are going to see a Game 3. There's Line. He's taking a sip of his victory water. He took a risk, he made that hatchery, and it worked out for him. Kyrix, a little too passive, could have attacked earlier and just crushed his opponent. He had all the scouting information, he knew what to do, he just didn't make use of it. He wanted to make sure he had all the upgrades necessary. He thought he was further ahead than he really was. And I think he kind of misjudged that timing there a little bit. He played well, though. If he had attacked earlier, I think the game would have gone a little differently. Alright, so this is Game 3. This is all the marbles. Which Xanax player will advance? That's what we're going to find out here. The map is Zelnaga Caverns, a very wide open natural. Very difficult to expand. You won't see very many risky expansions like we saw from Line. You definitely won't see a very fast expansion from either of these players. Only Nesty can do that. He's like the only guy who can go for a hatch first on this map and then defend a 6 pool. He's the only one. He can do it, but no one else can. There's Line. He's getting focused. Kyrix, he looks calm. Maybe he needs to play a little bit safer this game, be a little bit more aggressive. Who's going to take Game 3 and advance to the round of 16? Will it be Xanax Kyrix or will it be Xanax Line? We'll find out here on Zelnaga Caverns at the GSL Super Tournament. I am Wolf, and I'll see you guys when the game starts.